Next keynote speaker, Mr. Anjani Ladia, Chairman of the Board, ICAI Luxembourg. Mr. Anjani is a finance and accounting professional having 25 plus years of extensive experience, mostly in investment management, private equity, real estate industry, with a focus on providing accounting and audit services. He has an in-depth experience in working on multinational clients with a presence in various jurisdictions for implementation and reviewing of governance, risk and internal controls, including business process reviews, and has a strong strategic, commercial and value-driven orientation with excellent skills in accounting and audit related services, financial analysis, business planning and development, cost reduction initiatives, business process improvement, and operational synergies. I believe that this is just a confined brief of him. He has done several more things. So let's hear from the man himself. Let's give a huge round of applause to Mr. Anjani Ladia.
I'll do things differently. I'll not use the dais. I'll use the ticker. And if everybody allows me, I'll use English, Hindi, English, because we are in India and we are bridging Europe to India. Let me ask the questions before you guys ask me a question. What is Europe? I'm bridging the gap between India and Europe. Anybody knows what is Europe? There are 7 Europes within one Europe. How do we know that? One is a geographical body. The other one is an EU, which is a political and economic union. Then we have EFTA. We have EEA. We have Schengen. We have Eurozone. We have Council. Did we know that about this before? No, so 7 Europe in one Europe. And you would see it's a very vast, unimaginable, complex, supranational entity, which does not have any powers, so all the powers remains between the member states. So still EU, Europe is all we are talking about, that we want to do business with Europe, which we cannot do a business with Europe at all because it does not exist at all. Why? Brussels, which is the capital of Belgium, is the political capital of Europe. So do you talk to Brussels or do you talk to Belgium? That Strasbourg. Who knows about Strasbourg? No? Again, I'm waking up. Strasbourg is a small town in France. It's the legal legislation charter capital there. Who knows about Luxembourg? Luxembourg is a small country, only a population of 650,000 people, and it's the financial hub of not only Europe but also the globe. It's the second largest fund industry in the world after US. And if everybody talks about share market, and भाई financial institutions अपना पैसा लेके चले गए. कौन है वो financial institutions? वो सारे Luxembourg में हैं. Whenever the market is high and they want to profit it out, they all are in Luxembourg. Luxembourg has more than 1,300 FPIs registered in SEBI. You name them, BlackRocks, Fidelities, Vanguards, all are based out from Luxembourg and in here. So I will talk about more bridging between Luxembourg and its asset management industry. That do we really know what Europe is? So zooming into the asset management, what is important is EU regulatory framework. We are in a summit of GCC. Europe is still talking about outsourcing. So they are making legislations on global deliveries. They are making legislations on outsourcing. And what comes is EBA, European Banking Authority, focused on asset management, saying that, hey, we need to regulate all our outsourcing. Previously, anything what European countries were doing it, they were doing it to Poland, which is a shared service center. They were doing it to Morocco. They were doing to Marseille, a small city in France. So again, it's all about that they are keeping up the pace now, that we have to go and look at the other countries where we can outsource our work. They call it as delegation. So outsourcing, delegation, setting up as global delivery centers, capability centers, is all governed by the EBA regulation. So one thing very important, what Europe is saying, that okay, we can send the work out, we can set up our entities out there, but how if we have to close it up? Exit strategies, if you can't perform, then what is the next alternative? So they are always thinking ahead that what could go wrong. So very important is exit strategies. And before anything that could be done for using GCC network or outsourcing, they have to notify their governments, their regulators, that they are sending work out of Europe. Then, very important, Europe came out with this regulation called DORA, Digital Operational Resilience Act. Anybody knows about this? We all talk about cybersecurity, we talk about data, but this is a super regulation over everything related to data and tech. So they say that if we do anything outside of Europe, how do we monitor that? How do we take control of it? So this act talks about this DORA Resilience Act of how manage the monitoring process of anything that we outsource. Comes ESMA guidelines. Again, Europe, nobody might have heard about it. ESMA is the European Securities and Market Authority, all the capital markets. So Europe makes legislations, directives, regulations, but that has to be implemented by the local jurisdiction, local countries as the national laws. So this is very important that when they come up with any regulation, how can they audit, how they can monitor, how can they oversight their functions in any location, and that's where you see that we have to have certain audit rights given up on the monitoring of any centers that we create. So there is a small double asterisk down below called intra-group entity preferred. That's what Europe is. Europe does not want to outsource to our GCC centers. They want to set it up themselves and as an intra-group entity, and that's what makes it very complex, because decision making is complex. It takes too much of time. EU cannot decide upon it, so the member countries have to decide upon. So Germany takes its own decision, France takes its own decision, Netherlands its own, Luxembourg its own. So complex. And then the MiFID acts, like AIFMD acts, all these UCIT acts, which requires a lot of scrutiny, delegations, outsourcing to be monitored. So these are the certain complexities you could see that EU regulation has. If you talk about GCCs, global GCCs, can anybody name 3 European companies, real conglomerates who have set up a GCC here? And I'm talking about the financial services. Any names? RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland, not a Europe. Barclays, UK, but I'll give you the names. Societe Generale, SocGen, BNP Paribas, AXA. These are European companies, big financial services, BFSI sector, who have been present in here. But then, no one else. We are talking about mid-tiers. Our growth, Alokji mentioned this morning, about if we have to become 9,000 GCCs 80% will be coming from the mid-tiers, and that's where Europe is. Luxembourg will outsource, France will outsource, Germany will outsource, but not the big entities, the small mid-tier size people, they will outsource, they will open up their GCCs, setting it up in here. So, what are the key barriers that does not allow the Europeans to set up GCCs in India? Again, regulatory complexities. As I say, there is no one single law. Everybody wants to transpose into their law. They give directives, they give regimes, they give regulatory guidances, but you have to have certain local laws. So sometimes Germany wants to open up its economy to bring up 80,000 people. But then what happens to France? They don't want to bring up people into India. From India to their countries. Luxembourg, very small, they don't have the infrastructure. So very complex regulatory requirements for the labor laws, because then they have to implement those laws in India as well. So complexity of local laws versus India laws, Then the issue of our transfer pricing comes in. As soon as you start having a company here, you have your own captive GCCs, then where is your permanent establishment? If permanent establishment is not only by the revenue, it's also by the cost, it's also by the employees, it's also, you have seen the tax rulings coming in, that it's not only how the money flows in from where the holding company is, it can be interpreted in different ways. So that's why permanent establishment keeps them as a thinking aspect about it, not to set it up. Then governance, cultural alignment. In India, we are multicultural. Europe is multicultural. French has their own uniqueness with Germans, with Italians, Nordics. So where is the alignment? Do we want to create multiple country GCCs here? No. So there has to be some kind of an understanding. We were speaking about language barriers. If we have to come Europe, then we'll have to have this alignment of language and the cultural acceptance. So UK is not Europe, so we have to think into that direction. There are 27 member countries, everybody speaks different languages. So do we want to train our people in different multiple languages? Probably not. That's where it gives us a little bit of barrier for Europe to come into India. Then infrastructural, operational risks. I think this is not a risk anymore. We can scale it up. We have proven it. And then we see that we are always available from the talent perspective, from the infrastructure perspective. But what about the attrition? GCCs are opening up. So every person, can move into a next door with 10% hike. What happens about that retention? How do you keep those people in there? That's causing them the attrition rate of my own GCC, which I set it up 2 years ago in Hyderabad, is 30% attrition. So my talent acquisition team is always on the run, and then having up more and more sitting people on the bench because they don't know if tomorrow somebody will leave, then what happens for the services delivery? So that's causing up a little bit of barrier for people to again come up to India. Then we saw that data localization compliances, data, they want to keep the data within Europe, but then there are latency issues. You have to log in onto their systems, onto their data centers, which should be located in Germany or in Luxembourg or in Netherlands or in France. Then how do you work around the clock? Then there is a security data transfer. So these are local compliances and key barriers that does not allow Europe to come in here. But asset managers, financial services have been cautious about it, and they say that if we manage our regulatory risk, if we manage our operational security risk, and if we manage our reputational risks, then probably we can still use different locations outside of Europe. Because what is important for them is the fines, the regulatory fines, the sanctions. And if anything, a breach happens, then they are technically knocked off from the competition. So that's why if we manage these three risks, I think asset managers, financial services institutions, and the small players can use the GCCs here for this. So, and then this is a quick checklist. As I said, outsourcing clarifications. What are we outsourcing? What functions are we outsourcing? If we make up a list, it's not only a process driven. You have to be top to the bottom into a very detail by maintaining the records that who is servicing what is the responsibilities, what are the roles to be placed, and then what are the governance oversights. So if we make up all these documentational stuff, then probably like Europe could be open up to take up more opportunities of GCC. But that's not ended in here. Then we have to have our legal compliances in the standard compliance clauses, because GDPR Act is not the same as DPDP Act. So how do you want to keep it in? Then there is the transfer impact assessments that needs to be done, the delegations, the DORA Act. So there are certain things that asset managers, the financial services institutions will have to think about it before they move into it. But if you check all the boxes, then there is no more looking back at all. And certain mitigation strategies, again, repeating the same thing. But these are the ones, if we want to project our capabilities really to the European world, then we can have to make up these four things into consideration, and then we will be able to attract our India's GCC advantage to European asset managers. I would not cover up this one because this has been talked about a lot of people in here, that we can do digital transformation, cost optimization, operational resilience, supports what we can do it. But this is what India has to offer to Europe, but keeping up those checklists in mind. And this is how we would be bridging up our trust, our financial institutions, our BFSI sector, by increasing cross-border collaborations, significant regulatory framework, and alignment of our regulations, which would create a lot of synergies, lot of opportunities for India, Europe to work together. So that's the bridging, and that's myself. I am a chartered accountant, but I would like to talk about a little bit more about our Luxembourg chapter. What it is, why I'm here. Alok ji wanted me to come in here, giving me an opportunity on this forum with among the lot of intellects. So Luxembourg is a kind of a heart of Europe. We are the small country, but servicing the whole Europe professional qualification education of chartered accountants. Chartered accountant professional is the only profession which has been given to the same ages of our non-government organizations of CII, FICCI, and ASSOCHAM. Chartered accountants living in Europe has been recognized by our Ministry of External Affairs. We can do the signatures as gazetted officers, So we are an extension towards the embassies which are in there. We don't have an embassy in Luxembourg. We have an embassy in Brussels, which is the embassy of Belgium, Luxembourg, and EU. So this position of being in Luxembourg creates a lot of advantages as kind of a policy making, as kind of a bridging, as kind of a licensing of between the two countries. And our chapter works with the embassies, with the trade delegations, inbound and outbound. We are almost 150 chartered accountants in Luxembourg, but more than 800 chartered accountants in wider Europe, concentrated in every country. I would say 100 in Germany, 50 in France, but across the whole Europe. So if you would want to have a chartered accountant who understands your language, then please do reach out to us, and then we'll be more than happy to connect you to your businesses, to your people in Europe, by bridging up as giving an opportunity for Europe and India to grow. So that's it from my side. But somebody want to ask any questions for the time being? If not, then I will be around here and waiting to ask and then answer anything that would you have. that's me, Anjani Ladia. Thank you, and Alok ji, once again, thank you for having me in here.